Well, good morning. Unusually for me, it's not 5 o'clock in the morning, it's somewhat later. And I find myself in Kingston near Lewes. Very busy through here. It seems to be a rat run between the Lewes Valley and the A27. I'm here for a reason at this time of day. We were over here Sunday having lunch in the pub with friends, and somehow or other my East Sussex Old Farts bus pass must have fallen out of my pocket. When I got home I couldn't find it. Luckily some kind person had handed it in at the pub, so I'm back here today to collect it. But I thought I might just make a little film while I'm here. I haven't done a video in East Sussex for some time. I don't plan to do many more, to be honest, because the places I haven't been to yet, when you work out the coefficient between how long it takes me to get there and get back and the amount of effort you put into editing and the current shortage of viewers, it doesn't really make it viable. But Kingston is interesting. It's been around since the Doomsday Book, and it's one of those places. It's expanded quite a bit in recent years, but the main part of Kingston is this road here called the Street, and that leads up to the church, and that is where I'm going to be heading in a few minutes time. But it does have a bus service, and here's a bus stop. It looks like the buses come up that road there, pull in and do some kind of reverse because they go straight back down again. I know they don't go right the way through. I think it works out they get a bus every couple of hours each way to either Lewes or Newhaven, which is not bad. Hopefully enough people use it to justify the subsidy. Anyway, I am going to carefully walk up the road now a little way, and then come back and drive up to the church. The Jugs itself is an interesting building. It's 14th century, added to, but I'll see if I can get permission to film inside there later. There's a mixture of modern and older houses as we go along the street. Look at that chimney. Now if you like a chimney, how about that one? God. Also, I forgot to wear my hat, so I've got to be careful what I do. I don't even know if the Jugs is open yet. But, like I say, a mixture of old and new, and like a lot of parishes of this type, the road heads up to the downs and then just fizzles out into a pathway. And nicely converted cottages there. There's some nice old houses in there. I don't want to dwell too much on them, although I say I don't like to invade people's privacy, but it's all available on Google Street View these days. That's a bit disappointing. You would think in an old village you'd have a Victoria or George post box, but no, that's Elizabeth. This must have been, anyway, the old post office. That's what it says there, the the post house. So post office, village stores, this must have been the centre of activity, and it still has a centre of activities, village hall. And I'm not sure if it's in the village hall or somewhere else, but they have a farm shop that they open on a Saturday. And as you can see, as in common with some other places, we have this raised pavement, what we in Sussex would call a high pavement. Notice the use of the local materials, flint. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? And the signpost there says Old Forge. So here we sort of get an idea of the history of what went on here. An active agricultural community. Now, funny enough, today I would expect it to be busier, but it's quiet. Sunday, you couldn't move here. Really, you couldn't. The old granary, and I guess it must be that building up there. So, farmers, bakers, forge, barriers, post office, it all went on here. And here we have, it says Hyde Cottage and Hyde Manor East. So I think we could deduce from that in times past this was in fact a manorial settlement. Maybe all these original houses here were connected with the manor in some way or another. I said to myself, I'm not going to walk all the way up to the church. I'll go halfway, come back and get the car. Well, I have walked all the way to the church. And although I'll get across the other side of the road so I can film back to it, away from the sun. That's Hyde Manor. That's the manor house itself. A nice little sort of memorial garden there by the looks of it. And yeah, coming to the end of the village now. I probably won't go right up there to film. As I say, it ends in just a footpath. But up the top there was the village pound where people could keep their animals. Another old building there, but here we are. This is what I really came to see this morning because it looks like a very interesting church. I don't know if it's going to be open, but we'll go in and have a look nonetheless. What I like here is we got a tapsel gate. Now, I know this is not original because I looked it up. However, when you look at the wood, it's obviously been here for quite a while, so as a replica this in itself has a certain age now. I've spoken about tapsel gates in other videos, so if you want to find out more about them, do refer yourself to my previous videos about the Cuckmere Valley and Polegate to the Sea via Jevington. This is one of the nicest little churches that I said churches, church graveyards that I've seen in a long time. Very well tended. The church itself, they reckon, is 13th or 14th century, but some of it, by all accounts, is is 12th century. And the unusual thing, one of the unusual things about it is there's no, I've got to get this right, there are no aisles in the nave. And the tower is said to be disproportionately narrow to the rest of the church. And there is the tower up there. Quite a typical tower for a church on the South Downs. It was struck by lightning in 1865, so there's been a bit of restoration work since then. I can hear somebody playing the piano, so what I may have to do is just go inside and film and then do a voiceover afterwards. But I'm going to go around the back here now. There's another lich type gate. Oh, it's nice and cool around here. Yes. And this opens out onto a big playing field it's a relatively new addition, this one, so I've been given to understand. But it's a lovely location, isn't it? And there's footpaths going up there and footpaths going down there. And I'm now sweating like a pig because there's nowhere to get out of this sun. Now, what's behind? Oh, I hope I'm not treading on anybody's graves here. I don't want to show any disrespect. This looks like places where ashes are interred. Would that have been the village pound? I wonder. It has that look about it, doesn't it? It's walled. Yeah, that might have been the village pound. Anyway, I'm going to walk back past this lovely weeping tree here and see if the church is open. Well, there's a possibility that it is. There we are. Is that a Norman-inspired arch, maybe? You never know. It looks very plain, doesn't it? Let's go in and see what's going on. There's a very nice chap coming in here and plays the piano for peace and quiet. It's lovely. Now you see, no aisles, just the seats either side in the nave. And there's the font. I always like to find the font in a church. This one, according to my notes, because I made a few very quick notes before I come out, I never remember them. The font. Yes, 13th to 14th century, the font. So it's an antiquity. But this is the sort of church that I like. There's a simplicity about it which says a lot for the type of community you might have found here at one time. It was never, by the looks of it, a rich community. But the workers would be drawn here to worship by the sound of the bell, which always reminds me of that verse from Pink Floyd, which I won't quote now, but you've heard me quote it before. Not too much here in the way of stained glass, but sometimes the Victorians were like that. They'd rip out the stained glass and replace it with clear glass. The one I'm interested in, that's a bit staggering. is that the one that I'm looking for? No, not that one. That one's in memory of Betty Dora Laney, so that's a 1980s one. There's one here that's in memory of a previous vicar, Michael Scott. And it was dedicated in 1992 by, of all people, Bishop Desmond Tutu. I wonder if that's the one there. Yes, that's the Scott window. Bit dazzling, but a nice memory. And there's the organ. But somehow, I think the organ is out of place in a church like this. It's the piano that's got it here, as far as I'm concerned. Simple sound, simple building, simple faith. What has man done to corrupt simple faith so much? That's the question. What a nice chap that was. Didn't want to be on screen, but a young man who lives on the farm just down the road. Actually invited me and said, would I like to come and look round the farm, because I was making the film, but I honestly don't have the time today, which is a shame. But he agreed with me that the organ is perhaps a bit too much for a simple church like this. But there's no doubt about it, it's in a lovely spot. Excuse my aching bones there. And well, Kathy's car was parked right the way up here on Sunday. It's the only place she could park. So I walked her back up here. And she gave me a lift down to Gletmine, and we sat on that seat for a little while. And if the weather was any cooler and the sun wasn't out, I would probably sit there and do a bit of filming right now, because just it's so quiet, so peaceful, and the sound of the piano. Yeah. Kingston. And I'm now going to go back down the road, and hopefully the jugs will be open and I can go and get my bus pass back. And I'll ask them if they might kindly allow me to film some of the interior, because it is 14th century, and it's nice to record such things. I can get a better view of some of these houses on that side of the road. I'm walking back down. I'm absolutely amazed that it's so quiet here. Says he as a car goes by. Oh yeah, a clearer view over the top of the hedge there. Yeah, this must be the farm that he's talking about. Still an active farm by the looks of it. Do you know, on Sunday the roads seem to go on forever. Today, it's very quiet. Now, my concern is it actually open? I certainly hope so. But here we are, this is the Jugs, 14th century pub, and let's try going in. I've had to delete the sound from inside the pub because they were playing some of that horrible music that I think many of us don't particularly like, although it's popular with the customers. Um, but of course, I get into big trouble with YouTube if I kept it in, unfortunately. So just a quick look around the inside with the low beams and everything else. Very, very pleasant surroundings. And so, with a final look at the jugs, I say goodbye to Kingston. Now, the pub itself is lovely. Shame about the music they were playing today, but you can't help that. It's very well populated on any day of the week. As I say, Sunday was absolutely chock-a-block in here. The atmosphere inside is nice. It's 14th century, as you've seen from some of the footage just now. The bar staff are lovely. They're very attentive. The food is very, very good. And the drinks prices are pretty average. However, excellent though the food is, I do need to warn you that you'll need a small mortgage to come here. The food is quite expensive. But I'll tell you what, the chips are probably some of the best I've ever tasted. I should imagine they were triple cooked or quadruple cooked or whatever they do to them, but I don't think I've ever tasted chips that were so crispy outside and fluffy inside. So even if you just come at lunchtime and have a plate of chips, it's probably worth visiting just for the atmosphere and the chips. And with that, I will bid you farewell from Kingston, and I better start getting some more videos prepared, because back to Wales soon.